Mara bought the lake house in March. During a year when no one in her family had asked how she was doing, she paid cash for the inspection, financed the rest herself, and drove up alone on a Tuesday to walk the property before the ink dried. The water was gray that day. The dock needed work. She stood at the edge of it for a long time, not thinking about anything in particular, which was its own kind of relief. Her father had never visited. He knew the house existed the way he knew most things about her life, peripherally and only when it became relevant to him. The text arrived on a Wednesday evening in late June. We're bringing the family up to the lake house this weekend. Arsha people, make sure the fridge is stocked. We'll arrive Friday afternoon. Mara read it standing in her kitchen. Then she read it again. There was no question in it, no softening. It was structured the way her father had always structured requests he didn't believe, required her agreement, like a calendar invitation she hadn't been asked to accept. She typed back, no. 3 laughing emojis came in return. Then silence. She set her phone face down on the counter and finished making dinner. What her father didn't know, what he had perhaps never considered, was that Mara had spent years learning to document, not out of bitterness, though there had been bitterness, out of necessity. She worked in contract compliance. She understood what happened when assumptions went unrecorded. She took a screenshot of the exchange, saved it to a folder she kept organized by year. Then she made 2 phone calls. The first was to the county sheriff's non-emergency line. She asked a procedural question. If individuals entered private property after being explicitly denied permission and a no trespassing notice was posted, what was the enforcement process? The deputy on the line walked her through it patiently. She thanked him and hung up. The second call was to her property management contact, a woman named Deb who handled the occasional rental and held a spare key. Mara asked her to drive out Thursday morning and post a notice on the gate. Standard county format. Mara emailed her the template. She did not call her father. She did not send a follow-up text. She had already said no. She didn't believe in saying it twice. Thursday passed quietly. Friday, Mara drove to a conference 2 hours south. She had registered for it weeks earlier. She sat in a beige hotel ballroom and listened to a panel on regulatory frameworks and took notes in the margins of her program. At around 7 p.m., her phone buzzed. Then it began ringing. She silenced it. What she pieced together later came from Deb, who had watched from the road. 21 people, as it turned out. Her father had undercounted, arrived in 4 vehicles to find the gate locked and a no trespassing notice affixed to the post. Her father had a key to nothing. He'd never been given one. He had simply assumed the gate would be open because, in his experience, the gates in his children's lives tended to open when he arrived. A sheriff's deputy was already in the area, running a routine check on a reported vehicle a half-mile down the road. He saw the group at the gate, saw the notice, and stopped. The subsequent conversation led to a citation, not for trespassing since they hadn't yet entered, but for blocking a county access road with their parked vehicles. The fine was $300 per vehicle. 4 vehicles. The math was straightforward. Her father's call, when it came, was not a conversation. It was a weather event. She let it complete. The voicemail ran for 4 minutes and 40 seconds. She listened to 40 seconds of it, enough to understand the shape of it, and then deleted it. She ordered room service and read through her conference notes. In the weeks that followed, the family had opinions. This was expected. Her cousin sent a long message about how important it was to keep peace. Her aunt called twice and left voicemails about forgiveness that Mara listened to in full because her aunt meant well and had always been kind to her, even when it cost something. Her brother texted. That was pretty cold, she replied. He didn't ask. There was no response to that. Her father did not apologize. She had not expected him to. Apology required a kind of self-examination he had never found necessary. What he did instead was go quiet, a different quality of quiet than his usual silence. She recognized it as recalibration. He was reassessing what he could count on. She found she didn't mind. It was more honest than what had come before. And the following month, she drove up to the lake house alone. A Saturday in late July, no particular occasion. She fixed the loose board on the dock herself, using a YouTube tutorial and a borrowed drill. It took longer than it should have. She didn't care. She sat at the end of the dock as the light went flat over the water, and she thought about nothing in particular, which was still its own kind of relief. The house was hers. It had always been hers. The difference now was simply that her father knew it too. He didn't feel victorious. She didn't feel vindicated. She felt the specific, quiet feeling of a thing being accurately understood at last. Not celebrated, not mourned, just true. The water was still. The dock held. She stayed until dark,